Hello and welcome to the worst idea of all time, episode number 31.
0.5.
30.5, if we're going to do that. It's 31.
0.5.
Trust me on this,
Look,
it's
let's
31.
not get bogged down in the numbers, all right? It's never been a numbers game.
No,
what
it
it's
hasn't.
always been about for me is free love. I was born in the 40s, all right? I grew up, I sort of had my sexual realization in the swinging 60s. I'm talking about San Francisco. I'm talking about hallucinogens.
Yeah?
I'm talking about chronic jet lag.
Yeah, we're coming to you from Melbourne, Australia, and Guy has flipped his lid. He's gone crazy. He's eating Hungry Jacks, which is very irregular for him. 2 helpings, I might add.
Yeah, what I did is I got an egg McMuffin and a hash brown. I put the hash brown in the muffin. I just want to burrow down into our podcasting hole, away from all of the natural light and other human beings.
You had one of those, and you thought it was so good you had a second one, and you went a little overboard, didn't you, fella?
Yeah. I had what is described by some as too much of a good thing. Anyway, we're not going to hold you long.
That's neither hither nor thither. What we're here to tell you is this is the second part of our special 2-part episode.
Would this woman please just cool down on the announcements?
Featuring Paul F. Tompkins.
Wouldn't they just assume we're all across it? And if you're not on top of things, you deserve to miss the flight.
I don't know.
So stop spoon-feeding this flight information.
Have you ever been called?
Yes. I have also missed flights.
Not a good feeling at all. This episode is brought to you by Big Pipe, the greatest ISP in New Zealand. That's not one of their taglines.
That's right.
That's just my opinion.
You might remember them from the last part of this episode when 90% of you went out and changed your internet provider on a whim, which I congratulate you for. Also, you might want to, I mean, obviously in this case, you were right to do so, but you might want to just follow our word like that. And,
This is a specialty area, because let's not screw around. Guy, you know me, I'm a geek. I'm a big fat nerd, and I know about these sorts of things. Big Pipe have the best deals in New Zealand for fibre. They're very fast, they're very reliable, and all their support is through online, so you don't have to wait for call centre
all of their employees. You could walk in there and demand any of their employees to throttle you by the neck or strangle you.
They won't do it.
They will not lay a finger on you.
They can't.
You could literally try and concoct a situation in which you're sort of teasing their staff and in a way which would lend itself to you being strangled, not even because you've requested it, but because you've coaxed them into this circumstance. Even then,
the unique selling point that Guy is delightfully dancing around with whimsy and humour is the fact that Big Pipe offer no throttling on their speeds. Use as much internet as you please.
Who ordered the helping of nerd information?
No contracts, great online support, and they've got one of their plans, for example, which is called the Fast Plan. It's only $79 a month. You don't have to sign up for any amount of time.
The good news is that for the rest of this episode, I'm not joined by Professor Fink or Frank. Or whatever nerd version of Timbat just climbed out of his mouth, The Simpsons.
Oh, yeah.
Sort of like that. Anyway, look, it's
cool
us
guy.
two and Paul F. Tompkins.
Oh, wait, shut up for a second, Guy. There's more of this to go. Use the code WORSTIDEA at bigpipe.co.nz when you sign up, and you get your first month free. And
then they'll see that you're using it on account of hearing about it.
Oh, yeah, it's good for us if you do that.
It's a real good look for us.
Yeah, a real good look. Because I've got to tell you, these sponsors are really going out on a limb.
That's right.
The concept of 2 New Zealand comedians talking about a movie that they keep watching weekly. Anyway,
not
here's
even
the
a
episode.
limb. It's like a very thin, it's like a twig coming off of a tree.
It's the worst idea of all time. It's the worst idea of all time. It's the worst idea of all time.
Makes me want to squeed up, you know?
Skip
Guess solo. Where's he going?
Why is he looking like that?
On his hand.
That is the question.
A wristwatch.
As it is every week. There is a man in this film. His name is Coffee Guy. We love Coffee Guy. Coffee Guy comprises about a 100% of the film.
And before we discover what exactly it is he is doing or where he might be going, because we obviously talk at length about him and his exploits.
Yes.
How did you find his performance? How do you find the edit he gets given?
It is truly insane. It's truly insane because I had not seen it, and thank you for pointing out. Here he comes. And then when I saw it, it's even better than I imagined in my head. It's truly insane, and it's like what's so funny to me is he seems as if he's like the actor. It seems as if he's trying to be professional about it and say like, okay, I have to remember to. Drink this at this time for continuity. It almost seems like he's trying to do the right thing and completely does the wrong thing.
He's blown it.
God love him.
He's blown it.
God love him.
But, I mean, full credit to him. The actor saw the potential in this bit part.
That's right.
Which, we have taken the liberty of fleshing out.
He's a featured Sex and the City movie player. He was also in the first film. So
yeah, he's an extra in the first
Who
movie.
was he in the first
I think he's like the same kind of guy.
Guy at wedding?
Yeah.
He has a credit, something like that.
But you know the story, the famous story of the streetcar named Desire. There was a fellow. This is advice to actors that you should never. It's along the lines of no small parts, just small actors. Like you should treat every job, every role that you get with the same level of professionalism. An actor is asked. He plays one of the guys at the very end of Streetcar Named Desire who takes Blanche Dubois away into the loony bin, right? And so someone asks him, he says, "I'm in this new play," and someone says, "What's the play about?" He says, "Well, it's about an ambulance driver who he takes a woman away to the nut house." So I think this guy, he clearly built a story around this character that he's playing,
which we have tried to hone in on what he honed in on.
Yeah, and I think you guys, I think we're coming very close to cracking it.
Do you want to throw an interpretation of what you saw on the screen out this week?
Okay. Are you familiar at all with the supernatural?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm aware of it.
Do you know a movie called Thinner?
No.
Thinner is about a big fat guy who's very rude, and he insults a gypsy at one point who puts a curse on him to become thinner. He says, "Thinner." And then the guy gets thinner and thinner. At first, he's happy about it, but then he realizes, I keep getting thinner. This is turning into a problem. I've seen the movie and don't recall how it ends. I think at the end, he's just a skeleton. I don't know. So I think probably what happened with this guy was he offended some sort of witch, shaman, gypsy, said the wrong thing at the wrong time. And this magical being said to him, "Caffeinated." And so he keeps drinking caffeine, but he's very sleepy. It doesn't have any effect on him, but he keeps craving it. He needs more and more caffeine. And so he's drinking it faster and faster, even though it is, of course, scalding the shit out of his mouth and throat.
They just gave it to him.
Yeah.
Hot, fresh coffee.
Hot, fresh, piping coffee. And he orders them. Like, you never see a waiter bring him the coffee. So clearly, he has ordered 3 coffees at once. And he's got them lined up in a row, and he's doing them like Deadwood shots, right? Yeah. He's just going to go down, drink those coffees, and then he's going to probably, as soon as he walks out of the coffee shop, fall asleep in the street.
Wow.
Because he's so tired.
His curse it sounds a lot like chronic fatigue syndrome.
It's Epstein-Barr. It turns out it was just a coincidence.
Right.
That this was not a magic person at all. It was just someone wearing a scarf on their head.
It was a dress-up day at the hospital.
That's right.
And the doctor gave the diagnosis in character as a shaman.
That's right. I don't think mine made any sense.
No, it absolutely
it absolutely did.
Holds water and coffee.
So he was in such a great rush to get the coffee down so he would not have to suffer the indignity and embarrassment of falling asleep.
That's right. He's got so much caffeine in him, and it doesn't make any difference.
I'll be damned if I'm going to fall asleep in this here cafe.
That's right. He keeps trying.
Well, we've been talking for a little while.
That's true.
I don't want to outstay our welcome here, but I'm keen to get both of your guys' thoughts on just exactly where we're stacked up on the Dickbot versus Brady the Rat King matchup that is impending. where are we sitting right now? Who's our money on? How do we think this goes down?
Well, you are up to speed. Yeah,
I can't remember who.
So sorry,
Dickbot.
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 That's a very niche question to throw it out into the ether. Dickbot is the Danish architect expert.
Oh yes.
Is actually a presumably Japanese-made artificial intelligence.
Okay.
Born in a lab, escaped, who is hiding out in the desert to gain as much information as he can about humans while escaping the ire of the NSA, who are trying to destroy him, and also collecting enough solar energy to power himself.
How many episodes did I miss? Because I thought I was all caught up. Has he been talked about a lot?
Oh, a couple of times, I think.
No, I think
Not hugely.
Have you heard us on the? Did you hear us talking about stuff on the plane?
It's a recent Dickbot.
Yeah, I heard the plane one.
Oh, well,
you
you've only missed yesterday's one.
Oh,
which hasn't been released yet.
Yeah, but I don't think even is that Dickbot heavy. Pretty much what we have here is
Dickbot.
obviously
And I
That's
didn't
fair enough.
I don't recall the challenge between the two.
So well, actually, that might have happened off mic.
the theory.
I feel
My
better about that
apologies.
now. I feel better
But
about that now.
pretty much, what we have discovered or read into it is that we have Dickbot here, who has made it to America.
Yes.
And he's now got a level of artificial intelligence which is going to enable him to sort of essentially try and take America.
Right.
And so he's programmed to destroy all humans.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Americans.
Americans,
first.
yeah. But and Brady's obviously been harnessing the power of the rats and the
Yes.
sewers of New York. And
That's right.
the defenses of Dickbot against humans is very strong because he's been training. You know, he understands how they work and weaknesses and whatnot.
Right.
But he has poured no time or effort into learning how to defend himself against vermin or rats.
Right.
And so Sex and the City 3, in essence, is a battle royale for control of the earth between Brady and his hordes of rats.
Right.
And Dickbot.
I feel as if Dickbot is a very formidable adversary, obviously. Like at the end of the movie, when he's fucking Samantha on the hood of the car, since we don't see the point of penetration, he might be fucking the car. Do you know what I mean? It's possible. We don't see it.
And
Look,
And she's just into it. You
Your
know what
wife
I mean?
did walk into the lounge at the time when that was on screen. She said, "No one fucks like that." She's got a point. Maybe that's how you fuck a car.
That scene early on when they're after the gay wedding, when they are Samantha's with that guy and they're taking turns yelling yes, that would turn me off so hard.
Oh yeah, that's
maybe the unsexiest thing I've ever
nothing's
seen.
happening that night. We're gonna
It
turn
is
down the volume
like
on
it's
that one.
it's like a fratty sorority kind of way. Like
Yeah.
we're getting some.
So you
So-
acknowledge
so-
the fact that they're pretty evenly matched.
Absolutely. But man, oh man, there's so many rats. There's so many rats. Especially in America. And if he's going to New York City, Brady's home turf,
Yeah,
forget it.
yeah, okay.
Forget it. There's like 10 rats to a person in New York City.
Guy, you same camp?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm a big Brady fan.
Who isn't?
I'm a big rat guy.
Yeah. I'm a big rat guy.
You know that. Come on. We've talked ad nauseum about my affinity for rats, Paul, don't you?
Now I get your T-shirt.
Yeah. Well, it's made of rat fur, so
That's right. It's a picture of a rat and then your face, rat guy. I get it now.
it's very warm, which is why I'm sweating all over your couch. Also, the T-shirt's losing a lot of juice, a lot of fluid. So,
Jesus.
It's a very juicy T-shirt.
we'll get this thing dry cleaned.
Sure.
Don't worry about it. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to think because in essence, also another speculation we made is that Dickbot is trying to take out all of the electricity in America, which is obviously all traces back to the Pentagon.
That's where you
using
make
it-
all of your power.
Yes.
We understand.
It all comes from the Pentagon. That's why it's shaped that way.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so the rats can just any ploy that Dickbot has, by harboring or using all of this electricity can easily be undone by the little gnashes, little gnawing chompers on the rats.
You're ignoring the solar power part, which is the whole reason he's in the Middle East to begin with.
No,
Dickbot's developed a way to
Yeah,
power
but
himself, much like
he's-
Superman with our
he's
yellow
powered,
sun.
But he can't control all of America without controlling their power mains. And
But
whenever he
can
tries
control-
to,
I don't see. Okay, do you know what?
I mean, to me, the solar power thing seems like he's not dependent on other people's power. He's
can just-
self-sufficient.
Well, yeah, so he can get the job done of destroying the grid while powering himself,
Right.
disempowering others. What a metaphor!
So if he takes everyone else's power away, he is the only one with power
Having said
because
that,
he's stored up all the solar energy.
well, that's true, but also to play devil's advocate to myself inextricably, the rats have no use for power either, so they don't need it to win the war anyway.
That's true.
So I've kind of painted myself into a corner, and I feel like I'm going to have to join Team Brady.
Do you think rats enjoy the fact that there's electricity though? Like
I
it makes it easier for them sometimes if there's street lights on.
Definitely.
It makes it easier for them to find stuff to eat.
We cook food for them. We leave it in the gutter for them. One day they will rise up and realize that our dependency on power is our single largest vulnerability, and they'll find a way to chew through those power cords.
You know they're talking down there in the sewers.
But I mean, it benefits them just as much as it benefits us. Probably even more so because they are dependent upon foraging for food, and it makes it easier if there's lights on in an alley for them to find a dumpster.
And also, if they've sort of, posied up in a nice house in secret, obviously, not a lot of rats are living confidently
that's
with
right.
their little rat lounges within a human lounge. If you've got lights, you've got a lot of triggers, a lot of warnings. Every time that you're aware that the actual owners of the house might be coming home, you can scurry out of there.
Yeah.
Close the party down. Cops are here.
I guess I
Get
just
back to your homes.
I'm just imagining a little rat scurrying across the lounge, picking up its own feces to try and hide the evidence that it's been hanging out.
I guess I just wonder, do they appreciate it? You know what I mean? Like, are they saying this is great that we have this?
I suspect they are appreciative of it in the moment, and they will endure it until power turns against them. So our use of electricity, we start turning our attention in a very serious way to wiping out the rats, and that's when they will take us out.
I think it's too late to do that. We should have been doing that a long time ago.
Well, us wiping out the rats or vice versa?
Well, being ready to wipe out the rats because I think it's too late.
They got really close with the plague. They made a big play, and they did well.
It's true.
But we're still-
Although I heard recently that the rats were maybe not to blame for that.
What were fleas?
Fleas, there's fleas, but then there's also some other animal. It might have been their
Big?
fault.
A big animal or a little, like
I'd say human beings had a hand
I
in
think
it.
a little animal. What?
like a furry animal, like a dog, or like a mosquito?
Maybe a mosquito. I might have been an insect. But the rats are the one that they take the rap for the plague, but it might not have been their fault.
Well, I'm sorry to the rats then.
Well,
Now I feel bad.
it's very big of you to do.
Before Brady was awarded the kingdom, he had to apologize on behalf of humanity for that blame-laying.
That's how he got them.
Fact.
I love that.
He had to read out a script that they'd written in which he renounced the full responsibility for the bubonic plague.
Down the barrel.
Fact.
Straight
To the
down the
wheels.
barrel.
Would you gentlemen like to add anything? Is
To
there
this
anything-
conversation,
yeah,
you're
that we haven't
touching my
touched
knee a
upon?
lot now.
I like
I'd
it.
like to add a couple things.
Yeah.
The guy who plays the Miranda's asshole boss
Yeah.
was comedian
Tom.
Ron White.
Ron White, that's who he is. Okay.
One of the blue collar comedy kings or whatever.
I love
Truly.
him.
I did not see that coming at all.
I
that
love
was
his
weird.
performance in the film.
He was terrific. All this time you've been talking about him, I have never been able to picture him, and I was astonished to find out that it was blue collar comedy star Ron White of all people.
We had a lot of people do this to us through Grown Ups too as well. We were talking about people. We're in New Zealand. We,
Right.
only just got the internet. And people were like, oh, it's this guy. Oh, it's this dude. Oh, it's this ESPN announcer who's doing a cameo. And we were like, I thought he was just the gym teacher,
Right.
But
Right.
there's just all these cameos. So I'm looking forward to the furthering of that journey of finding out who's in this movie.
Another thing, when Big and Carrie are having dinner at home, the beautiful anniversary dinner that he's made her,
Sausage rolls
sausage roll,
and a goon sack of wine.
and he says, "Oh, you." He says, "Oh, you have some asabuco on your face," and then he licks it off. Like, doesn't lick it off of her. He eats it off of her. I would never do that to my wife, whom I love more than anyone on earth.
This was
if
a
she had
big-
food on her face, there's no way I would just go, "Oh."
He doesn't. There's no evidence of tongue. He just goes. He just gets it. I'm totally okay with
He
it.
eats it off of her.
This was a
It's
big fork in the
gross.
road between Guy and I because about 10 episodes ago, I was like, that is disgusting. I was like, I would do that. It's
Here's why
cute.
it's disgusting, because he tries to make it sexy.
Yeah.
It's not cute. He tries to make
I
it
wouldn't-
sexy.
I
and
would.
it's
Yeah.
gross.
That is a fair point Because if it's if you do that goofy, that's
You're
kind.
laughing.
There's a way to play it off.
You're throwing food at each other like married couples do.
Yeah.
I would
That
never.
kind of thing.
And I don't know why he's calling a sausage roll also buco. That's what's crazy to me.
One final thing. These two rich people in their rich fucking apartment in New York City, this gigantic apartment that they have, they're sleeping in a double bed. That's insane. It's insane. A double bed. They're like crammed in there like it's Charles Dickens times. It's ridiculous.
Funnily enough, you also pointed out that when Carrie and Miranda go to Abu Dhabi, they're sharing a room. There's like 2 beds in 1 bedroom in this lavish, like beyond compare.
They're
lavish
picked up at the
penthouse
airport in
suite.
4 separate cars, and then they're shown to this mansion within a hotel. Like, here's this gigantic property that is all yours. Over there is the shared boudoir, and then they're like, rubies. Why would that be happening, and why would you be excited about
There's
it?
a private bar in there. Knock that thing out. Chuck a bed in there. They wouldn't have to share.
And there was no payoff to it, right?
Oh no,
There was no payoff to it.
no.
There was there was nothing that justified them. There was no gag that came out of it,
Yeah.
right?
You're
But
right,
the-
because one of them's always asleep when the other one's awake, and the only time Carrie wakes Miranda up is when she rushes in from out of the room, so she could have had her
Yeah.
own. You're totally
You can
right.
bet there's some dynamite deleted scenes of just them gas bagging at midnight, just shooting the breeze.
What boys do you like?
Yeah.
Boy, that's probably true. That's probably true.
We were saying just before we started rolling that Tim and I haven't looked up the deleted scenes in Sex and the City 2, but we quickly arrived at the idea that there probably aren't any deleted. They didn't trim any of the fat off this thing.
Oh, I bet they did. I bet there's even more shit out there.
One thing I did suspect, just ever so briefly, is I don't know how it got cut as well. It must have been atrocious, but Carrie has to have given a best man speech. There's no payoff to her being the
absolutely.
best man. But
Absolutely.
She's just standing there. They make her the best man. They talk about her being the best man multiple times. And you're like, okay, she's an author, so she's obviously very articulate. And yet,
I think on
there's
the
no
wedding
fucking
on the
speech.
wedding bill it says she was going to do a reading, and I think what it was is she was going to do.
I forgot about
she
that.
was going to do
The
it.
camera does pan down. We do see because Big is like this gay wedding. How long
Yeah.
is it going to last?
And then
And
we
we
get
get
a
to
full
see
rundown.
a sort of a visual cue for how long it's going to
Yeah.
last, while Carrie also narrates exactly what's happened a little time later. They're spoon feeding it to their idiot audience, which is us, and only us at this point.
Also, that really quickly.
no, don't. Paul, don't you dare.
Well,
I'm curtailing what I'm saying because I'm in your home. You get to dictate the length of this. I could go all night,
I don't
and I
wanna-
would be happy to.
I don't want this to be a bummer for the listeners because you usually this is a nice, compact, tight podcast.
We'll split it up. Two-parter. Why not? Thus concludes. But no, this is definitely. If we did split it up, the halfway
We're
point was
already
a
in
while
part
ago.
2.
Well, to get the whole line of "How's my tie" and the big reveal of Carrie and the tux and
Yeah.
everything.
Just briefly explain what that line is.
Big is looking in the mirror. He's getting dressed for the gay wedding. It's a gay wedding. So this gay wedding they're going to, he's getting dressed for it. And so he's in his formal wear and he's adjusting his tie in the mirror. And he says, "How's my tie?" And then we swish pan over to Carrie in a tuxedo saying, "How's my tie?" I don't think if you're a sighted person and you're looking at your tie in the mirror, you need to ask someone,
Oh my
"How
God,
is
you're
my
right."
tie?" He's looking at it. What
You
more?
know
What more feedback does he need?
He's colorblind for a start, so he's just making
It's
sure.
black
that
and white though. Like this is his default palette.
he's had to double check every day of his life before walking out of the house.
That's a bloody good point because that's a very legitimate line. If there isn't a reflective surface around, you go
Yeah.
like, how's my tie? Do I look okay?
Yeah.
He is delivering the line into a fucking mirror.
He's looking at it as he says it.
Nice get, Paul. I missed that one.
I'd also just like to announce, while we're very loosely still on the thread, that why the reading or the best man speech got cut from the wedding is because it was a reading from Carrie's forthcoming book, I Do I? And you saw how hot that crowd was at the wedding, and this thing bombed hard. It was brutal.
Do you think the reviewer from the New Yorker was at the wedding?
Yeah.
And that's why the book got panned?
Yeah. It was like, I bet you the reviewer didn't even touch the book when it came out. I was like, oh, there's no way that thing came out okay.
She couldn't be more of a fucking baby about that review too.
The review wasn't that bad. Because we paused it and read it because they do flash the page up
She's
on
called.
screen.
She's
briefly.
called the Woody Allen of.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
compared to one of the greatest filmmakers of American times
Yeah.
or cinema times or all time, if you think about it. And they also, even by her own admission, in the review, the section she reads, she is described as the talented Carrie
Yes.
Bradshaw.
Yeah, yeah.
And it has some, firm but fair critique about
Yeah.
her book. And what does she do? Fucking whips out.
They put that tape over her mouth, though. The New Yorker put that tape over her mouth.
It's fucking satire, man. Look it up. That's what a caricature is built on, Carrie. Get that
And she's
skin
still,
thickened.
that didn't pay off either because with all the preaching they do about it's like they don't want the women to have a voice. I think I get the point of the burqa.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a direct parallel between it covering their mouths and the men not wanting them to talk. But then that's not paid off in any way. When she's complaining about they want to take my voice away, there's no sense of checking privilege of oh, I thought I was being silenced because someone drew a cartoon
It's
of me.
so true. Even
But these people really do live in a place.
We're shown the whole way through that Carrie there's no empathy for,
No.
when she speaks to not Baydun, who's the butler that
Garon.
Garon. Yeah, and he explains his marriage arrangement, and then the next morning she's like, see, it's and just makes it about her immediately.
Yeah.
Once again,
He tells
Yeah,
a
yeah.
heart-wrenching story about how he has to save up money and can only see his wife. He
Every
is
3
Indian.
months.
She still lives in India. They can only see each other once every 3 months. And Carrie takes that anecdote and doesn't say, you know what, I don't have it so bad. Instead, she says, my life is the same as your life.
Yeah. She takes what he says completely at face value.
Yeah.
She doesn't parse it in any way of oh, for him in this situation, this is the best that it can be, as opposed to, oh, but that's still terrible. She makes it a romantic thing. Hey, they're away for 3 months at a time, but it's always, she just completely parrots what he says.
Yeah, yeah.
Twice in the movie. This is our hero. This
Yeah.
is the person that we're supposed to admire. And twice in the movie, she's like, I'm just going to repeat what this man says.
And Garo's role is as the advisor. He's there. He's Rafiki.
That-
He's here to give some wisdom.
that repetition, once again, I know quite a lot of about the script writing process. That was again when Michael, after the first draft, after he'd submitted his pictures,
Right.
he submitted what he had was the bones of a script, and then a lot of it was just repeated lines where he'd written in the margins to himself, insert another line of dialogue here.
Do you think it was a cut and paste job?
Yeah, and a lot of that stuff still snuck through.
Find and replace.
Yeah,
Stuck through every step of the way.
I also liked the thing that I thought was so absurd was the central conflict for Carrie is this choice between it's either you do everything together all the time or you have these enforced periods of solitude that last a full 48 hours. And it's what a weird false choice.
Yeah.
How about just balance things out?
Yeah, how about get
people
a
find a
fucking
way
hobby?
to do it?
There's
Yeah.
bit
And this-
where she walks into the apartment and Big has got his feet up on the couch and it pans to her looking at the couch. He's got his feet. He's minding his own business, reading the paper in his own goddamn house, and she's got nothing to do. She grabs a pillow. She throws the pillow across the room. She sighs. She says, great couch, huh? He says, yeah, we waited 1.5 years for this couch.
Yeah.
Giving her a little something, and then returns to his paper, and then she goes, hey, your shoes are on that couch. Fuck off. At that point, I'd be like, get a goddamn hobby.
I actually didn't mind the shoes on the couch thing because that's that should go for anybody.
you
Don't
were
put your shoes on the couch.
you were ragging on the couch at the end of the.
That couch was terrible.
The couch
but still,
itself.
don't put your shoes on the couch. But the thing that was so crazy to me was that he doesn't want to go to that premiere, and she makes him do it. He doesn't. I would never do that to my wife. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, it's a gross thing to do.
That's not a
to
thing that
your
adults
spouse.
do.
No.
Yes, exactly. It's so weird.
Yeah.
No, you know what? We're not going to do separate things. You're going to go to this thing you don't want to go to with me.
Especially because she has been doing sweet fuck all day. She's
Yeah.
finished this book, so she's on holiday at this point. She plies him with alcohol and says, hey, you're being a pussy. Put a shirt on.
Yeah.
We're off. It's been a work, man.
Why don't you just make
And
a
he's
date?
colorblind. His job is very difficult when you don't know which direction the market is
He's,
Oh my
he's
God.
also got vertigo, so the guy's literally
Sure.
guessing the whole time.
I feel bad for him. He's all day. He's just staring at those 4 screens in his office. He doesn't know what the fuck
He's
they
trying
mean.
to, trying
He can't read them.
Trying to cook up some sort of money-making scheme.
Oh my goodness. Well, look.
Also, his office looked shitty. Like he's supposed to be this big shot dude. And even when they do the dramatic shot of him being sad in the window, even when they pull out, it's like, that office looks like a closet.
Do you
It's
reckon?
Not, yeah.
I liked this office.
Oh, I thought it looked kind of small.
It's like a half of a boardroom.
It was weird. Maybe they didn't have enough money for
I-
sets,
I-
and that's
well,
why there had to be a shared
no,
bedroom in the palace. And
They
all
were reflecting that Biggs in hard financial times.
that. He used to have a bigger office.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
now he has
With
to take
keyboards.
He had to take in an office roommate.
Yeah,
But
now-
there's another guy that we don't see on the other side.
just off camera.
Hey, would you keep your personal phone calls down? I'm trying to do stocks
I'm
business.
at work, Carrie. I'm really sorry about that.
But it's not a bad office. It's a poor good office. It's poor at being a good office.
Well, as long as we're talking about Big in his fish in
Oh
the
my
fish bowl in the
good God,
think
I
tank,
forgot. Yeah.
if you will, we might as well dip into Mr. Big's big book of ideas.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
if it's your first time joining the worst idea of all time, what a strange place to jump on the train.
But welcome.
Guy and I have watched Sex and the City 2 31 times now. Paul F. Tompkins joins us in this episode. This is your second viewing.
That's my second.
Mr. Big is in this film, and he works in an office, and he's very sad and colorblind and suffering from vertigo. And in his office is not a computer at his desk, but there is a big leather-bound book, which he scribes
Full
all
of
his genius
schemes.
ideas in.
That's right.
Who would like to grab the reins?
Well, I just like
What
this
is
is
it?
not the probably the big idea, but I did find out. I think I'm onto something here, and that is every year he uses the book to draw up his anniversary present for Carrie.
Oh, no.
And what he's drawn, so Carrie says after they've finished their sausage rolls, she says, she gives him the Rolex, and he's happy or whatever, and then he says, "Your gift is in the bedroom," and she says, "It better be something I've not seen before," and he's figured it out exactly what to get her. This is presumably the year after, whatever. But he goes into the room and he opens up where eventually the flat screen panel television is, and this is also on the back of that uncomfortable conversation about parenting that they had at the wedding with that Mormon couple.
The one good moment in the film.
Yeah,
That was the one decent moment in the film.
of
Well, there was
tension.
conflict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not greatly.
So
But
she's-
also the movie was saying something.
Sure.
So she says, "Well, it better be something I've not seen before." And they go into the room, and he opens up the cupboard, and he's just gone out into the street and picked up a newborn baby. That's now in the room. He goes, I got us a baby. We got a baby.
Right.
I got us a baby.
Which you haven't seen before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've seen a baby, but not this
Yeah.
particular baby.
And
Which is
I hid it in the desk.
yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it wasn't the aircon that was making that noise. It was a crying baby that
Wow.
we've got in our desk. I think this is one of his ideas. One anniversary is he went out there and took a baby and put it. I don't know. It
idea.
tickled me pink.
Absolutely. Well, as we all know, if there's one thing that will fix a failing marriage, it's inserting a child into it.
Works every time.
Every time.
Get a
Works
third.
every
You know
time.
what this marriage needs? Another person involved.
Yeah.
Who's relying on us to be very on the level and energetic and balanced and dedicated to it.
Yep.
Because the other time, whenever she says there better be something in that room I haven't seen before, I always think it's a dismembered moose cock. For whatever reason, I always think.
Well,
And it's like, you've definitely, I've been trying every year. You've seen a lot of stuff, but this
I
surely.
haven't seen this. Mr. Big's Big Book of Ideas, a
Yeah.
lot of those pages are populated by money-making schemes,
Mhm.
colored by the fact that he seems to be in Wall Street somewhere.
He's a man of the business world.
Yeah. I mean, what did you see on those? You watched the movie this time. What did you see fly at you from those pages?
You know what I was surprised to see, and it makes sense because of an earlier scene. A design for couch shoes. These are shoes that you can wear on the couch.
You mean like slippers?
They're shoes. They're shoes designed to look like slippers. So the idea is, I mean, here's the one drawback. The one drawback is when you're out in the world, people think you're wearing slippers,
Right.
but you're wearing shoes. You're wearing hard shoes that you wear to work.
You gotta explain it to everybody.
Yeah. Here's the thing. It's not. It's still in beta, but the idea is that of course, when you're out and about, just in the world, people are like, "Are you wearing your slippers out.
We've got the pitch meeting.
Yeah,
today.
like you can't wear slippers. It's very important. It's like I know they look like slippers, but they're couch shoes. Oh, now people are intrigued.
Right.
This is where it pays off. But then when your nagging wife is telling you you can't wear your shoes on the couch, which it's what we all want to do. You know, when I come in after a hard day at work and, you know, some people are like, take off your shoes. And I'm like, they're my shoes and I'll leave them on when I want to. And to me, I love having shoes on and I love laying on the couch. I wish I could do them both together, but it's frowned upon. Now with couch shoes, I have shoes that no one will ever know aren't slippers, and I can wear them on any couch I want.
So you are putting up with like a whole lot of inconvenience and questions out on the street for the creature comfort of secretly knowing you're wearing shoes
It's the
on
most,
a couch at home.
look, it's the most decadent thing there is. To wear your shoes on the couch, oh,
I love it.
it's like ancient Rome. It's great.
100% sold.
Yeah.
I'll give you $50,000 for 10% of the company.
My name is Theo Perfetus, and I will give you $25,000 for 5% of the company.
Dun-dun.
It's a Shark
woman?
Tank thing.
It's the British version is called
Dragon's Den.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which I
Or as
think
they call
came
it,
before.
Dragon's Den.
That the announcer
Stupid
said
British
that?
people.
Dragon's Den.
Throwing the insult far and wide
Oh,
this
he's at the
week.
Dragon's Den now. Uh-oh, he's going to get hot in the fire pit in the Dragon's Den. He's going to be a pile of bones with a helmet on. Oh, that metal armor you're wearing is going to get mighty hot if you go too close to that dragon. You're going to burn some skin off. Find out if he survived next week on British Dragon's Den.
Literal Dragon's Den.
I feel like we're probably heading towards a natural conclusion of the episode.
I feel like we're just getting started.
So then I guess at this point, I would like to reiterate, Paul F. Tompkins, you're an absolute legend for letting us into your house.
It's my pleasure.
I feel like some sort of tiny wooden horse that I've had an inside of, left myself at the gate. You've invited us in.
Tiny wooden horse. Not a
Yeah.
great big wooden
Nope,
horse.
little one. It's a new twist on an old theme.
Sure.
And thank you very much.
Thank you guys. It was a pleasure to have you. This was very fun for me.
This was good, right? I
Yeah.
mean, apart from watching the film, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even that. And so the listeners know my challenge to myself was to not speak
Oh, you
during
didn't
the
mention
movie.
it. Yeah.
I was going to watch it like a movie. I wanted to see how far I could get. I couldn't get very far.
You
You
got
did- no, you
really
did good.
far.
A third of the way through, maybe?
A little.
Oh, but that didn't usually go on. I'm bloody gas bagging through this whole
Yeah,
thing at this
it was,
point.
and what was that changed the context of watching it for us also because
Felt
it,
bad
it-
for you guys.
because
That
it was
good.
yeah it was interesting because we were forced. It was like the energy
was
in the
like
room
going
lent
to the
it to
gym.
us actually investing in the movie and not distracting ourselves with
But
wiffle
then-
waffle.
But
Yeah.
once I saw how little time had passed, I was like, we just got to talk.
Fuck this.
Yeah, this is really hard.
Yeah.
It's
Because there's
really
like and you could there's a lot of I was getting a lot of pent up sort of edgy energy. I was doing some tapping.
I
And,
noticed that.
tapping and
I
whatnot.
noticed that. It was so weird. It was weird. That was made it weird to be watching it with you guys because you both had moments like that where there was like heavy sighing and there was like you were, I think, cradling your head at one point while you were watching
I was
it,
hoping
Tim.
you didn't notice that.
Yeah, it was my heart really went out for you. And I realized, wow, these guys really have watched this that many times.
We did.
And I can't imagine.
And Amiga, 21 more.
We recorded an episode of Spontaneation, which is your podcast, which I always feel like I'm pronouncing incorrectly. Am
No,
I
you
adding
said
a
it-
No,
syllable?
you're saying it right. You'll
Okay.
almost definitely be spelling it wrong.
And the episode will be coming out later in the year in about December.
December
right?
14th.
But you were very sweet on there, and you know, all jokes aside, we did our nice story, and it was a beautiful thing, and I felt like we hit some really good stuff in there, and it was fabulous
It
being
was a
in
lot
there.
of fun. It's very silly.
But then at the end, you were kind of like, "Listen, guys, really,
You
honestly,
pulled us aside.
all jokes aside, I'm worried about
Said,
you.
"Look, hey,
You
look,
need to kind of."
I like to
Call
joke
this
and
off.
kid around as much as the next guy, but
I told the fellas, you mustn't do this again. Do you know what it felt like? It felt like being Werner Herzog at the end of Grizzly Man when the woman has the recording
Oh my god!
of Timothy Treadwell's final moments as he's being torn apart by a bear, and he's saying, "You must never listen to this." Me saying to you guys, life is very short, and you cannot spend another year watching a terrible movie together.
If you don't understand that reference, do some Googling, because that is visceral and hilarious. Good God. Well, once again, what are let's do what you do. Where can we find you online? We usually do
If you're
this.
listening to this, you probably have found him.
That's true.
You never know. You
The
never
Venn
know.
diagram of people who know about us and not you was, I'd say, not huge.
I'll go for that slice.
Do it.
I want to bring that slice
Well,
on board.
it's all yours.
Come on.
PF Tompkins on Twitter, TOMPKINS, and Paul F. Tompkins on Tumblr. And you can find live dates there and stuff like that. And I have a podcast called Spontaneous Nation on Earwolf. Comes out every Monday.
You've got a bunch. We've got Super Ego.
Super Ego, yes, which comes out sporadically.
It's very good, though. Get
I
on
love
that.
Super Ego, yeah.
And you can get all the back episodes of Paul's stuff as well on Howl, which is this fantastic new appy, platformy product.
Yeah, it's sort of like almost like a Netflixy kind of thing for podcasts. But there's all the old comedy bang bangs from longer ago than 6 months ago are on there. I mean, that's a vast catalog that's worth. I think it's like $5. You have access to all that stuff.
Just
That's like
do it.
kind of nothing. And there's an original Super Ego series on there you can only get there called Forgotten Classics,
Oh, cool.
where me and the guys at Super Ego take a classic work of literature that none of us have ever read, and we improvise what we think it is about.
Yeah, I think. Anyway, it's not important. I think I heard Matt maybe was telling us about that idea last
bet
time
he
we were
was.
here.
Did you read the first sentence and the last sentence?
We get the first sentence, the last sentence, and the list of characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then and there's also on how we find out, and like there's bonus episodes where we actually read what the synopsis is of the plot and find out
Cliff
how
notes,
close we
yeah,
got. Yeah.
It's
Excellent.
awesome.
Guy Montgomery,
Yeah.
throw some things out. And bear in mind that this will probably be on after we do our gig at Logo.
Oh, okay.
And can I just say, you did an awesome job on
Thank
stage,
you.
man. You
I'm
were
a
so
cl-
good.
You know what? I'm a classic dude. If you are listening to this, then please come along. I'm doing a double feature in Wellington with Joseph Moore at VK's. If you're in Wellington, New Zealand, we're doing it. I don't have the dates, but it's in October. It's all online. It's gonna be
Google around.
It's gonna be a lot of laughter, a lot of kissing, a lot of handshakes, a lot of love. So yeah, get on that. Otherwise,
Guy will tweet it out.
just keep doing exactly what you're doing right now. Don't stop. Get in the loop.
Guy_Mont.
Yeah,
Guy_Mont. And I am Tim_Bat with 2 T's.
you're more than that. You're more than an online profile. Tim.
Thank you so much. Guy.
You're a well-rounded human being
Sweet of you to say.
with thoughts and experiences.
Well, that's us for another viewing of Sex and the City 2. And we will catch you next time, which will be the one before the LA Podfest one, which happened yesterday. Figure that out. Until then,
What?
Hashtag decal your
You
niqab.
Dequel your niqab.
Decanter
And if
your
you want to look up
niqabs.
Dequel Jackson as well, I don't know what he's doing for a living anymore. Probably working in an extras sort of acting studio with Con Barrel. That's neither here nor there. Stop listening. For the love of God, would you turn your goddamn electronic device off and go talk to someone?
Say goodbye, Paul.
Bye, Paul. Oh,
Good one,
the,
Dad.
the worst.
And thus concludes our fabulous two-parter with Paul F. Tompkins.
We would
I
now like
wish-
to retire from show business on
Yeah.
top.
That's right, undefeated. I wish that episode would never end. Another shout out to Paul F.
dumb
Tompkins.
wish.
You should listen and subscribe to his podcast, Spontaneous Nation.
Or
Try and
wo-
spell it. I
yeah.
dare you.
Or work through his back catalogue of the Pod F Tomcast.
Just follow him around. Whatever he does,
Follow him.
Sniff it out
Find him and follow him.
in real life. Thanks again to our sponsor for this episode, Big Pipe. They are an internet service provider in New Zealand. If you're not in New Zealand, suffering your dicks.
Yeah, stop listening now. If you're not in New Zealand, shut up, because we're going to talk about private New Zealand stuff. All right, guys, what are we going to do about the rugby? We need to win this thing, all right? We need to come up with a plan ASAP. I mean, I know that we can pretty much trust our guys to bring it home, but I don't want to take any risks.
Sorry to interrupt your rugby chat, Guy, but let me just mention that Big Pipe have no contracts, no throttling, great online support, and if you sign up with the code WORSTIDEA at bigpipe.co.nz, they'll give you a month free to test the waters. Bring your own modem and broadband not available everywhere. I think those are the things I have to
Carry
say.
a modem at all times.
I do. You know I do. That's how they keep it so cheap.
I'm going to go and round up a team of lacrosse players to to learn how to play lacrosse. We're still in an airport, by the way.
Okay. Guys, going to get some sleep now, and I think the next episode might be the LA Podfest one.
Or
So
it might not.
I'm not sure. We might chuck one in between then. We had to wait a while before we released it, so we're just grabbing the file for that now. We'll get it up. If you want to see the video stream for that, Google LA Podfest. I think it's lapodcastfestival.com. Is that right, Guy?
Yes.
And then go to the videos section, and you can buy the ticket with the code WORST, and it'll get you $5 off. So I think it's $20
And then you
US.
can not only watch us, talking with a visual accompaniment, but also my brother, and me.
And Paul F. Tompkins falling off a stage during
That's
the
right.
intro of Spontaneous Nation featuring reviews and
You'll
Daily.
get Mark Maron. You'll get probably
Patton
Science.
Oswald.
Yeah, he was all over the place. Look, it's going to be a lot of fun. Just stop listening, for fuck's sake.
It's the worst idea of all time. It's the worst idea of all time. It's the worst idea of all time.